Hello again everyone. Welcome back to the Pragmatic Algorithm, a channel where topics are discussed and debated with facts, not feelings. Today's topic is a term personally is rarely ever used in place of actual current statuses. That term being single mother. Generally, there is no such thing as a quote-unquote single mother. There are widowed mothers, divorced mothers, victims, meaning victims of assault, who still carry the resulting child to term due to religious or moral beliefs, and those with bad judgment. The term single mother is most often applied to the last of that list. The judgment of the person tends to allow the conception of a child, whether intentional or not, in hope of or with the idea of a lifelong relationship. Even if not marriage, many believe that a child might bind them further just having a shared offspring. Whether it is the father leaving regardless of the reason, or the mother leaving the father, to bring a child into the world intended or not, when one if unsure of the status of a relationship, or is only hoping to bind a relationship, does not make the woman a single mother. It was just a bad choice of the moment. It would seem the term came about by mixing the current relationship status and the fact of having offspring rather than the actual situation. Another way to term it is to remove the child from the reference. If nothing less, it has become an identity rather than just phrase where a person will refer to herself as a single mother even if that person is barely a mother in the traditional sense of the word. Historically, only one would have had the proper usage, were one condition different, to use the term single mother, the biblical Virgin Mary. The condition that would contradict it, though, is that she did have a husband. Unfortunately, in modern times, the term is also being applied to women who made a conscious choice to either leave the father, or have unprotected relations with someone who was not going to stick around, or even divorcees. Many times, those who allow a guy to complete the requirements of conceiving a child do so because the guy was attractive, a quote-unquote Chad or Tyrone. These women will then get ignored as those types only care about doing the deed, not anything that follows. Now there is a child whose father is nowhere to be found, and the woman will begin using the term single mother to deflect from her impulsive choice in a moment of intimacy and garner support or sympathy from friends, family and others. Oftentimes, the quote-unquote single mother is not actually doing it on her own, but rather doing the rearing on her own, which the father's/baby daddy's wages are garnished to help fund the raising. Not only do these women begin using the term, but generally will also attempt to encroach on things which were traditionally reserved for the father. An example, celebrating Father's Day because they are doing it on their own. The irony is that Father's Day was actually begun by a woman, whom was one of 6 children, raised solely with a father. Mother's Day already existed nationally recognized for 10 years by this time. Sadly, as of late it has also become an attempted reasoning to excuse bad behavior. How often do we see, hear, or read about someone saying the words "you don't know how hard it is being a single mother"? Ironically, those who often use this line will do so without knowing anything regarding the parenting status of the person whom they are speaking to. The most common wording of it, "You don't know how hard it is being a single mother." A line used when the person wants to avoid responsibility or is attempting to guilt a person into giving a better deal on items or situations. For instance, this line will often be stated towards teens or males, though the male may also be a father, whether divorced, a widower, or still with the mother. If he were a divorcee or widower, by her logic, he would be a quote-unquote single father, but since it is a guy, he is discounted in the other person's eyes. Also, to younger people with children, some of them are still with the father, or may have been separated from him, or a victim of SA. But these quote-unquote single mothers still weaponize the line for some obscure reason. No one is discounting the struggles which are sometimes traversed through when raising a child alone, regardless of what factors led to that state. But it is not something that should be used to be able to get away with bad behavior. And it does not alter the reality of not being an actual quote-unquote single mother. I am beginning to be under the impression that, as a society, we will have to create a phrase in order to directly and quickly shut down the excuse, logic, or reasoning of those who utter this phrase. The question becomes what line would suffice, which could be true, and would severe enough to almost instantly silence those using the line. Perhaps something along the lines of quote unquote, "Well, you don't know how hard it is to not have parents, an orphan." Who knows if even that would work, though, as many are all about me, me, me. So the struggles of others might not even register. Anyhow, that's it for today's edition of the Pragmatic Algorithm. Feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for when my next controversial topic is discussed with facts, because as the line often stated by Ben Shapiro says, facts don't care about your feelings.